This is just like factually incorrect. It's just a lie. It sucks too because Fawn, she shouldn't be included with either of these two, okay? Because she legitimately was not insulting anybody with it. Vaush, there needs to be a natural tension between 2 points to keep both sides anchored in reality. Because without that tension, it's like a slingshot into stupid shit. I don't know if I would say that's true. There are probably some racial slurs that are not as bad as like some other types of slurs. But like we have to be a little bit more intelligent with how we approach language. So for instance, this is gonna sound mean and I'm sorry, but I'm feeling more and more strongly about this, at least in the Twitter world. I think a lot of people just haven't experienced, you know what? I'm doing hot takes all this year. This is the big problem. Nobody considers this from both sides. They always look at it from one side. People always say like, there's no unifying white culture. I've said that. There is no unifying white culture. There is no unifying white identity, right? That's true, that's true, that's true. But you can't simultaneously say that and then come out on the other end and start attacking white people. You can't have said previously, well, there is no unifying white culture, and then say white people. Destiny, did you see this? Trump claims Israel-controlled Congress, Jews run New York Times, the most anti-Semitic president in history. What is this website? New York Mag. There's like 4 different ones. Some of them are really good and some are really bad. New York Times is generally pretty good. The New Yorker is amazing. The New York Post is absolute dog trash. I don't know about New York Mag. Does the Washington Post lose credibility? Song got banned after repeated. Oh, this dumb guy. No, I mean, it's an op-ed, right? But like a lot of people were covering this way because I think there was an article on, there was one other website as well. I don't remember. What was it? It might have been a Vice op-ed, but it was basically people saying like, oh, Hasan got banned for having a discussion about the word cracker. It was like, what? No? No? Hasan got banned after repeatedly, like this is just, these tweets are just wrong. This is just like factually incorrect. It's just a lie. This week, Twitch suspended 3 streamers, Hasan, Vaush, and Fawn Child. It sucks too because Fawn, Melina's friends there, she shouldn't be included with either of these two, okay? Because she legitimately was not insulting anybody with it. Vaush definitely shouldn't be included with Hasan, although Vaush should argue, I'm still gonna use it as a slur, which maybe sounds kind of dumb. But like, Hasan was like clearly the worst. I like the grouping of these 3 together. Like we're tranching fucking CDOs and we're trying to throw like bad mortgages in with good ones to make all of them seem the same. Like this is bullshit. Why would you have, I don't know why you would put all 3 of these together. It's actually so disingenuous. Many protest Twitch decisions citing much larger problems with anti-black racism and a lack of action against ableist slurs. Okay, so number 1, fuck it. All right, 2021, 2022 Destiny, okay? When you read articles or when you listen to people talking about it, people are acting like every single black streamer is getting hate rated every single fucking day on this platform. And I think there was a brief period in time where somebody with bots were running around like spamming the N-word and shit in people's chats. But like Twitch already has a ton of auto moderation tools to prevent that. And now you have like authenticated accounts with phone. You had like follower only mode. Like, I'm sorry, but like when was this ever a serious problem on the platform? Like, and I'm not black, so maybe I missed it, or maybe but like, I feel like you already have tons of moderation tools to deal with these types of things. What is this like lack of action? Now against the ableist slurs, that's a legitimate one. I'm really surprised that Cracker got banned before retarded, but yeah, I totally don't understand. It feels like you already have a lot of tools to deal with this stuff, unless there are like creative ways of getting around the N-word, and I just don't know. Like, I know you can do bots that follow for weeks. I know you're capable of getting over the follow limit, but I don't know. Were you ever browsing r/Twitch? Those people over there are delusional. r/Twitch is the saddest subreddit on the internet. I remember at one point in time when I was thinking of ways to like boost my relationship with Twitch, which I now realize is totally impossible, so I don't waste my time with that dumb shit anymore. I was gonna start replying to and helping people on that subreddit because a lot of people had tech questions and shit, but oh my god, dude, going through that subreddit, like it's basically just a ton of small streamers either congratulating themselves because they hit 3 concurrent viewers, or shitting on larger streamers, or shitting on like making huge problems out of nothing. It was like, oh my god. What a horrible subreddit. Hasan got banned after repeatedly arguing why it shouldn't be a bannable offense like the N-word. The etymology is different, he said. Cracker means literally whip cracker. That's not true. The power is still in the hands of the white person in that situation. This is so stupid. The power is still in the hands of the person having the slur hurled at them. Also, he makes it sound like Hasan was literally showing up to stream, like as like, you know, Professor Hasanabi here in his outfit, you know, like, here we're going to discuss the etymology of words. Like, what are you talking about?
Did I say, oh my god, saltine cracker, like people are just bitter because it's saltine cracker? That's not what I said, you dumb cracker bitch.
Isn't that whip cracker thing still racist? It is, but like, we might talk about this later today. Nobody really knows why slurs are bad. Nobody really knows like why you shouldn't, like, I'm sorry, but like the history of a word has almost never been relevant to a word itself. It's actually it's it's such a stupid point to ever bring up the history of any word ever.
Cracker is...
The way you said it so loud.
Cracker is has, even in its etymology, it's something I've talked about so many times too, because it's like white boys love fucking saying like cracker is the same as the N-word, cracker is the same as the N-word, right? It's really stupid. It's not like the etymology of the word is different. Like cracker means literally whip cracker. It comes from whip cracker. So the power still is in the hands of the white person in that situation, whereas the N-word is dehumanizing.
We don't talk like that, right? Like language is like descriptive. You know, we describe words as they happen. You know, like we're not telling people like this is how you talk. Otherwise, like literally wouldn't mean figuratively. Or you know, there's a million different contemporary words that we use quote unquote incorrectly, but it doesn't matter. You would never ever when you're trying to analyze contemporaneous speech or common parlance, right? Just like a normal like speaking, you would never be like, well, what's the history of this word? That's not what you view. You go, how do people in this sociological context, how do they view the word? How is that used? That's how you do it every single time. This like obsession about like going back into the past and looking at words, like why? What? That's so stupid. We never use language like that. Like that's so dumb. Yeah, I don't know. It's super stupid that anybody would try to bring up like a history argument for something. Sometimes historical context can explain why a word means what it means. Potentially, sure. But like, I'll stake my life on this. I will, and I would be safe. Over 80% of people had no idea that cracker had anything to do with like whip cracker. Nobody knew that. That was some shit that people dug up on Wikipedia and they're like, oh, thank God, maybe. And also, that's probably not even the origin of the word, because I think even back in like Shakespearean shit, people were finding this word like cited and shit. Like, so even that's probably not the real origin of the word. But also, who cares? It doesn't matter. Like, what if we were to discover in the sacred texts, what if we find like a book that says that the N-word actually originally meant like holy great person that was good at everything and is of high moral character? Is the N-word back on the books now? It's like, oh look, well the historical usage is actually really good, right? Or can I start drawing swastikas everywhere because it used to mean a symbol of peace before the Nazis co-opted a part of it? Like this, it's such a mind-numbingly, we need more conservatives, okay? I'm sorry, but there needs to be a natural tension between 2 points to keep both sides anchored in reality. You need that natural tension, because without that tension, it's like a slingshot into stupid shit. I have seen so many 2016 gamer bro arguments for defending slurs recently that I never thought I would see in my life again. All the way from, well, it doesn't bother it when you use it against me, right? That's the pick me argument, right? Everybody, or maybe this isn't true. One of the reasons why it was so hard to get me off saying the F slur is because when I grew up, I had 2 gay friends and they both said it all the time. And they told their straight friends, oh yeah, call me an F slur. I don't care. It's fine, whatever. That shit was ingrained in me growing up. That's one of the biggest reasons why it was so hard to get me out. It's like, wait, hold on. I know gay people that don't care if you call them an F slur, right? Why would I stop using it, right? But it's not a good argument, right? But it took me a long time to get over that. But the idea that like, oh, well, you know, it doesn't bother me. That doesn't mean anything. I don't fucking care if a word bothers you. Nothing bothers me, right? Like, who cares, right? Like, that's stupid, number one. Number 2 is people aren't genuinely hurt when you say it at them, which, first of all, half of this country is conservative. I'm willing to bet that if you polled the average Republican, do you care if people call you a Gregor online? I'm pretty sure most of them are like, yeah, actually, that sucks. Even if they're saying it facetiously, they still would say it, right? You have no way of proving whether or not they're being honest. So that's not even true, okay? Number 3, what else? Oh my God, there were so many horrible arguments. Number 3 is, sure, they might say it at you, but no white person is sincerely offended. And if you are offended, that's your problem? What? Oh my God. I feel like I got ripped back to 2015. I'm sorry, but the fact of the matter is, if you read any word online and it hurts you, I don't care what the word is, and it offends you, you've got problems. Like, that's on you, buddy. Like, figure it out, you know? That's what I would have said back then. I'll even somewhat side with that right now. Like, if people are bothering you online, just fucking block them or mute them or move on, right? But the idea, like, that it's kind of weird because you get into this weird you get into this weird white savior complex where it's like, oh, well, if minorities hear these bad words, like, it's so sad for them and blah, blah, blah. But if you're a white person, you should be strong and you should be able to read any slur about you and you should know that. It's like, what the fuck? Why would you expect so much more of white people than any other minority? It doesn't make sense. Here's another one. Ironically, that again is so sad, is I used to argue a lot in the past, and I kind of would, that like context matters. when it comes to like slurs. Like context is really important, I think. And everybody's like, no, they're just bad. They're just bad. They're just bad. But when it comes to this word, all of a sudden now so here's an example. People tried to impugn my character because they're saying, okay, well, Hasan is on stream calling people crackers a million times and screaming it at people, but you in chat used the N-word with the A or whatever to say like, what's up, my Ninjagos? I think I made a joke like that. And I was like, so how can you be against one when you're saying a worse word? It's like, wait, what? Are you actually serious? Like, I'm not using it as a pejorative towards somebody. Do you not understand the difference between these two things at all? Like, it's actually so mind-numbingly stupid. It happened on Twitter as well, because I quoted something. I put the N-word with the soft A in quotes, and I actually don't know how many people were upset versus like 80% of you guys are posting like, oh no, people are going to be upset because most of you are posting that than seeing anybody actually upset about it. There were a few people that were like, oh, because Hasan posted his Discord. It was funny that Destiny critiqued me on this one. He used a slur. Like, wait, what the fuck? Are you serious? I heard the Chris Rock bit unironically on Chud Logic stream. Yeah, Jesus. Yeah, it feels like our understanding of like language and all of this shit is just so bad now. And then people tried to talk to me about well, what about when you used to say, you used to call people white as an insult? I'm going to give you my point of view on this shit, on racial slurs and everything that I don't think I've changed in the past 5 years. Nobody really wants to defend this stance, but you all know that it's true. So I'll say it. Sometimes slurs are funny. Sometimes racial humor is funny. That is like undeniably true. You can get on Twitter and read about it, but at the end of the day, all of you have laughed at a South Park joke, an Atlanta joke, a Chris Rock bit, a Dave Chappelle bit, a Louis C.K. bit. Like, there are all sorts of racial or other types of like dark humors that are funny. The thing that makes them funny or not funny, though, generally, and it's funny because I posted an article from 2013. No, on 2013 on my blog. You can still find it for why I finally stopped saying the F slur. And I said the same thing when I defended my private joke or whatever argument. And I'll say the same thing now. And I also said this when I stopped using the white jokes. Things are no longer funny when you feel like you're in the company of people that actually sincerely believe those things, you know? If I'm hanging around with a bunch of friends and we're making jokes about like black people or Mexicans or Cubans or Italians or whatever, it's funny. But as soon as somebody shows up and that person like genuinely hates that group of people, well, now it doesn't feel the same to like joke with that person, right? I'm not gonna make jokes about a certain race of people with a guy that I know is actually racist because like, wait, that's actually fucked up. It's not funny anymore because like you sincerely believe this. For a long time, if you go back a year or two ago, I used to have a lot of fun online doing like you sound pretty mad because you're white. Oh, that's the whitest thing I've ever, right? I thought it was funny. It was a funny way to make fun of somebody. But nowadays online, when people like seem like they sincerely like are fucking hating white people, like unironically. And I said this, I think like a year ago, I was like, I'm gonna stop saying these jokes, or I've curbed back on these jokes a lot because it's not fun anymore. Because now when I post shit like that, I don't know how many people in my comments like actually sincerely fucking hate white people. And I was like, what the fuck? This is like a little bit kind of weird now. It's not funny anymore, you know? And I think that's like the main driver behind me looking at like, is this a funny word to use or not a funny word? But this like one size fits all where it's like, oh, it's a slur, so it's always bad. Okay, well, what about all of rap music? Well, that's different. Black people are taking back. Okay, well, what about Mexican rappers? Well, they have a shared history of oppression, kind of like, come on, dude. Like, are you being real here? Come on, fuck out of here with this shit. Okay, don't stop, right? Crackers okay because some white people are their history of owning slaves. Okay, first of all, black people have a history of selling slaves. Okay, number one. Okay, and number two, you don't know the history of every white person you call a cracker. Like, they could be fucking Serbian for all you know. They could be somebody from fucking Eastern Europe. You have no idea who the fuck this person is. Why would you assume they have a history of owning slaves, right? It's just like, oh my God, it's actually like so many dog shit arguments. Dylan had a panel last night. It'd be interesting to talk through some people with this, but the problem is that it's all just so stupid. Like, the conversations are so bad about language. They're actually so bad, and they're so stupid. Jesus fuck. I can't believe how degraded. And then it's sad because you've got these like brainless frat dipshits like Hasan at the top that are like trying to lead the conversation. Although it's gotten so extreme that I think even the majority of people are pushing back against that, where it's like, wait, hold on. You can scream at people that they're cracker horrible people, but if you even make like any other type of joke, it's all of a sudden the worst thing in the world. I think people, yeah, but Jesus. But then that whole argument got co-opted into like, oh, you're only saying that because you want to say the N-word. It's like, no, what? Wait, what are you talking about? Like, you could just, you know, yeah, Jesus. What a world, okay? What a world we live in. It's because people don't understand how slurs work. They think the N-word magically appeared as a slur. They don't understand slur stuff as a normal word. Yeah, or that they treat some slurs as like Voldemort. It's like fucking strange, but whatever, dude. What are you gonna do? Okay. Honestly, I was surprised that Twitch did anything about the whole thing. Kind of weird, right? Yeah, I'm surprised it did at all. I would argue that slurs against race can be worse than insults because it can inform of an internal feeling of hatred people for being a certain race, but saying stupid doesn't have a real deeper feeling. It just, Ninja, it just depends, right? Like, language is a little bit more, we engage with language in a very sophisticated manner, right? So, here's an example, okay? Let's say that you have 100 black people in a room and there's like one like dumb, skinny, dumb white person, and that guy calls one of the black people, and they're all hanging out, and this is like a black person party room. I don't know, a fucking club that's predominantly black or whatever, right? And this white person calls someone an N-word, right? It's probably shitty, but like, does anybody really care? You know, maybe they beat about whatever, but like, who cares in that point, right? On the flip side, let's say that you have, we'll do gamers since they're truly the most oppressed class. Let's say that you've got like 30 people in a classroom. Let's say one kid plays a lot of Call of Duty, right? And people use gamer at this kid to like insult him, right? And let's say that like everybody in this classroom fucking hates gamers and nobody wants to be his friend. No girls will talk to him. Even the teacher makes fun of him, right? Well, in this case, being called a gamer is doing a lot more. It's not just being called something. It's all the actions that go along with it. It's the context that goes along with it. Probably making this kid feel shittier than the black people being called an N-word by one skinny dude in a club, right? That's what I'm saying in terms of, I'm just saying that like our engagement with language is a bit more sophisticated than just saying that like, oh, well, this word is bad because of this and this. It's like, okay, well, hold on, let's chill. Like what's actually going on, right? We used to remember this. We used to know this. I used to make arguments about this. Like one of the reasons why slurs can suck so much for some people is because when you utter a slur at somebody, sometimes you can bring up a whole bunch of stuff that they've heard in conjunction with that. There's a really good Louis C.K. skit where the gay guy at the table talks about it. Like, oh, when you use the F slur as like a joke or whatever, you know, that's fine. You can use it as a joke. But when you say that, like I've heard that word used, and this is an older gay guy, I've heard that word used a lot towards me in really disgusting vitriolic context. And every time you say it, it just kind of brings that up for me. And that's a way that somebody can engage with a word, you know, which is totally fair. So there's like, yeah, it's a little bit more complicated than
I cannot believe it.
Just like a Twitter argument about it, you know, I don't know. Okay, yes, I should have said this. I was going to use the word othering, but yes, it's the alienation that slurs or any other word brings that makes slurs bad. Calling someone a cracker isn't going to make them feel less human because kind of society doesn't make being white an unacceptable thing, but it could something. Sure. So the alienation part, that's really the big part. So in my gamer example, right, you got 30 kids, 29 of them are hey gamers, one of them is a gamer. Why isn't August protected in chat? And then in the black club thing, right? None of them are being alienated by the N-word because you're just one white dude, right? But that's true. It's like the othering of somebody or the alienation of somebody is like being made to feel like, you know, like, oh shit, like something is bad about me and now it separates me from this group. This is why making fun of women online or treating women weirdly online is really shitty, even if you don't use a slur, because it otherizes them. It makes you feel like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to be here. This is like for men. This arena is not for me, you know? Can you defend your 2-day on-stream breakdown where you cried like an artist who dropped their tennies over the word Gusano? I like your thoughts about why you got so emotional before. First of all, I've never been super emotional on any slur type thing. If I was, I wouldn't have made it on this platform. Gusano is really shitty though, because I would argue that that's basically like a racial slur. You're calling somebody a negative thing. They try to argue that it's political, but it's not. I don't have any strong stances on like Fidel Castro's like socialist regime or not. You're finding somebody's nationality or background and then you're attacking them on it, which I think is kind of racist. But I would argue that Gusano is a lot worse than Cracker, but you know, it is what it is. Especially when Hasan is on stream defending, you know, in front of 40,000 people, like, oh, calling people Gusano is fine. It's like, okay, dude, whatever.
Oh wait, so is he just doing Destiny content?
And be like, oh my God, I'm so offended that people are using the term Gusano, a term that most people had to fucking Google immediately after I fucking mentioned it for the first time ever. And it's actually certainly not political and can only be used against Cubans. And it's not just a catch-all fucking term that a lot of leftist Latin Americans use against people that they perceive to be like capitalist, anti-imperialist, counter-revolutionaries. You know, I'm so offended. I'm so offended.
What? I call Destiny a fucking Gusano because he is. Oh, but he's Cuban. This motherfucker has blue eyes. Not that it necessarily matters, but I can definitely tell you that because I can definitely tell you that his family owned a plantation. His family definitely owned fucking slaves. There's a big tell.
Destiny, why do you think slurs are uniquely worse than regular insults? I don't even know if they are. I don't know if I would say that's true. There are probably some racial slurs that are not as bad as like some other types of slurs. But like we have to be a little bit more intelligent with how we approach language. So for instance, like I would say, cracker is inarguably a racial slur. You're calling somebody a bad name, implying that they're bad solely on the attribute of their skin color. That's a racial slur. But realistically, has anybody truly been bothered by being called? Probably not. It's not that big of a deal, right? Fat, calling somebody fat, well, this is not an immutable characteristic. It's still a pejorative, but like I think arguably calling people fat is probably a meaner thing to do than calling somebody cracker, right? That's probably the case. So like that would be a case of like where a racial slur probably isn't as bad as some other type of slur, right? But I mean, it depends. There's like lots of context or whatever on all of this. How disappointing is it to see H3 be Hasan's cheerleader now? I mean, it's just stupid. I don't know. I think they all caught like bad backlash on this one, so whatever. I will say though that like if I got banned from Twitch for something, that going on another show and then doing like a huge fucking thing making fun of that ban, I feel like I would get perma banned for it. But it's cool that Hasan has no fear. I guess because he's got the big Daddy Bezos contract. But
here now we're heating up. Cracker.
I mean, you know what my take is.
Cracker is not a slur. Sassy.
Is it? Is it not?
It's not.
It's not?
No, of course not.
I personally take the same stance as you when it comes to me personally. The only thing I take offense at is that it's enforced arbitrarily in most places, and even this kind of offense is more like a slight annoyance, but even then that really is surprisingly more, yeah. I think a lot of people genuinely, this is going to sound mean, and I'm sorry, but I'm feeling more and more strongly about this, at least in the Twitter world. I think a lot of people just haven't experienced you know what, fuck, I'm doing hot takes all this year, okay? End of this year, next year. I think a lot of people on Twitter that like get really, really, really ass mad over certain words, I don't think they've actually experienced a lot of oppression or a lot of bad things. And that's my take on it. Like if you're getting so bent out of shape over like a random account that you could mute, like 0 followers, 0 engagement, it sounds to me like your life is probably going pretty well, because holy I feel like there are so many more things in life to stress about or be upset about than like some random dipshit online calling you a word or calling you a name. Like just block them and move on. Like Jesus Christ. Not to mention that it feels like most of the people that get upset over this shit are white anyway. They're getting like upset on behalf of everybody else. Oh, that's another thing too. Is there are so many I know all of this. I know all of this argument because I used it so much back in 2016 on the other side when I was arguing against certain slurs. A lot of white people come out and they're like, well, if there are so many white people that are okay with it, or I'm okay with it, I'm okay with it. Okay, what about like internalized racism? Didn't we talk about this before? Like, just because a white person was okay, like, what about Candace Owens? She's a black person. Does she all of a sudden give a whole bunch of conservatives an okay? It's like, well, hold on, that's different. Like, Candace Owens, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what about Jesse Lee Peterson? Okay, these black guys. Okay, well, you could have like an internalized hatred of yourself. It seems like a lot of white people hate the fact that they're white. You know what? Fuck, how edgy do I want to be? We'll go one step farther, okay? We're being really edgy today. I think a lot of white people do hate the fact that they're white and boring. And that's why you get all of these crazy tags that come out. This is why you get the otherkins. This is why you get like the fucking, the 52 million different mental illnesses that are all self-diagnosed. Because now you like, well, fuck. Like, I'm just a white straight guy. That's like the 3 like most boring, like non-personality driven tags in the world. Like, okay, well, I have a hard time concentrating. I have ADHD. I take a shower every day, not every 2 days. I have OCD. I sleep in a lot. I have depression. Like, yeah, I feel kind of like, yeah, non-binary, I guess. I fuck it, dude. I like fucking dogs. You know, I'm a furry otherkin or whatever. Like, I feel like it feels like you need like a replacement. Like in the 90s, I think we did it with, what did we have for personnel in the 90s and 2000s? Oh God, I was gonna make cultural jokes, but I just played video games, so I'm not even gonna be able to. Someone in chat can fill in the blanks there, or whatever. But like, this is like the new way that you like fill in the spiky frosted hair of the boy bands or whatever. Do you feel like that's a big problem that there isn't a white identity, and that is something that should be addressed? Not from a supremacist point, but like, do you think white people are missing something by not having the same type of cultural identity? That's a hard one. So something that I said before was that it does feel a little bit strange that I've seen jokes about this. I've seen Poland ball jokes about this. So from a national point of view, it'll be like Italian pride or like French pride or Spanish pride or British pride or whatever. And then it'll be like German pride. It'll be like, hold on. Where Germany's in kind of like a weird spot in terms of like, well, how many years removed do we need to be from Auschwitz before we can be like nationalistic again without seeming like Nazis, you know? I don't know. I said Italian pride. I don't know how strongly Italians identify with World War II shit. I mean, I don't actually know. But the it feels kind of similarly with fuck, I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, with the white stuff too, right? Where it's like you know, like Black Power, Black Pride, Hispanic Pride, White Pride. Hold on a second there, right? But it's also kind of weird because there isn't really like a unifying like white. Like the thing that's kind of strange is that it seems like white people in America are like, they typically know their backgrounds, right? So I feel like I remember in school, a lot of white people were like, oh, I'm 25% Irish, so St. Patrick's Day is this and blah, 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 or oh, like I'm part Italian or bullshit, you know? But I feel like it's more geographic in the United States. You're like an East Coaster versus a West Coaster versus a whatever, like a Midwesterner, like person you come from. Which I think is fine, but like, this is the big problem. Nobody considers this from both sides. They always look at it from one side. And to be fair, I've only argued one side a lot. People always say like, there's no unifying white culture. I've said that. There is no unifying white culture. There is no unifying white identity, right? That's true. But you can't simultaneously say that and then come out on the other end and start attacking white people. You can't have said previously, well, there is no unifying white culture, and then say, fuck white people. Wait, well, hold on. Well, what is it? Because like, you can't decry all of class X when you say that class X doesn't exist. You have to choose one or the other there. You can't sit on both sides of that fence. Like, that's bullshit, you know? Oh shit, how did you find this Pullman Ball comic? Is this comic shit even a big subreddit anymore? All of the self-labeling on Twitter and making light of these, in reality, life-crushing and debilitating mental illnesses, just screams immaturity and attention-seeking behavior of young people who are too pampered in real life to me. I just ignore it nowadays and only. So here's something that I've thought about a little bit, okay? Attention-seeking is usually used as a pejorative, like, oh, you're attention-seeking. But I think we can maybe use that term a little bit more compassionately or with a little bit more understanding. I do agree that a lot of the behavior on Twitter is attention seeking, but it might just be that people don't feel like they get enough attention today. And maybe that is the case, whether it's in our households or whether it's from friend groups or whatever. I don't know, maybe there's a reason why people just feel like they don't get enough or a lot of attention or whatever, you know? Which is sad. I mean, which something needs to be done about that, right? Like, that's not a good thing. What is your opinion on the Vaush Vivian discourse on the subreddit about being racist against British people or other European countries? I mean, like, it's all valid, right? Like, we need to stop. Again, we have to be a little bit smarter when we read into language. We need to stop obsessing over, like, well, is it a nationality or is it an ethnicity or is it a racial thing, blah, 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 blah. If it is the case that British people are relentlessly bullied online, sincerely, and there are people that sincerely hate British people, yeah, that probably is a shitty thing, as much as like any racial slur. It blows my mind so much that I have to remake these arguments when it felt like so many people agree with what I said before. Remember in the past, dude, I hate everything. We're just gonna play League today. When I talk about politics, my brain just wants to melt because like everybody is so far behind on all these conversations. It's like talking to a bunch of preschoolers. When we'll go back to Gusano, right? So people will call me a Gusano because I'm of Cuban descent. That's the only reason, okay? And I'm like, okay, well, hold on. Isn't that a little bit racist? And they'll be like, actually, Cuban is a nationality. It's not an ethnicity. You can't be racist against Cubans. It's like, okay, true. But like if a conservative comes up and they're like, Mexicans, Muslims, and you're like, aren't you a little bit racist? If the conservative were to reply, well, hold on, actually. Mexico is a nationality. Muslim is just a religion. There's no race there, okay? Would you really buy that excuse? Would you really buy that answer? If somebody all day went around and be like, Mexicans, like, okay, well, hold on, wait a second, bro, that's a little racist. No, actually, I just hate the country of Mexico, even the white Mexicans. Like, what? Yeah, I don't know. It's like, it's so stupid. Oh, God. It's all so painful. 39 Daff. Daff is just dumb. I don't even think she's like, has a bad opinion. I just don't think she's thought about it at all. She just like, is like a Hasan simp or whatever and says stupid shit. One of my favorite things about about Hasan being popular is that you can see that like people always make fun of guy simps, okay? Women can be simps as well. Holy shit. And thank God Hasan has brought that out because we all know we don't hate enough women here on this stream. I think you're very correct about the pendulum swinging back in the opposite direction. I'm worried about that a lot. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure. oof. We have to look at the yeah, I don't follow European politics as much. I've heard that like Sweden is literally 2 seats away from becoming a conservative majority government though in like 2 years, and that's like looking increasingly likely, or it might already be foregone. People are already saying like that's for sure gonna happen. I don't follow up, but like I remember covering stuff a long time ago about Sweden though that was like a little bit Swedstony. I remember one, but I only get like little tidbits and blurbs, so I can't like truly know. But the you have to not, you can't argue against somebody's feelings with stats. You have to deal with this. You have to deal with it. If your stats don't align with people's like realities, then they're gonna they're just gonna discount and ignore everything you say. I remember when Sweden said they were gonna stop reporting the races of people that committing crimes. I was like, I don't know if that's the correct way to go on that one, Chief. But you know, if that's what you want to do, like, yeah, I don't know. That's already illegal in Belgium. Oh, geez. Same for France and Italy. There's a French ultra right-wing populist picking up steam that might be Macron. Why is it useful to report someone's race when making a crime? They're probably just good stats to collect. The more data that you have, the better. It's probably just good to have that data. When you're intentionally not collecting it, it makes it seem like you're hiding something, you know? My favorite. Fuck. Okay, I don't want to visit the. I don't want to revisit the cracker shit too much because like people have talked about this shit to death for like probably a week now, and I just missed it because of my shit. But like some of the clips that came out of this were pretty funny. The apparently this dude is in prison. I don't know what for, but this was like an LSF clip that showed up.
What's your stance on the word? You mean like in like the shit you eat, right? Like, oh, bro, I'm not racist, bro. Like that ass shit. People don't know this. Nobody will really know this, bro. My mom was married to a white dude at one point in my life, bro. I swear to God, no bullshit. Like,
I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Okay, sorry. What else do we have saved here?